Hi, I am Natasha LaMarr, the founder of The Wives Inc. As you can see with my banner, I have a doctorate in counseling, education, and supervision, LPC. I am EMDR and also a sex therapist. So thank you for having me.
Yeah. So today's topic will be about knowing, um, um, not so much about knowing and growing, but leaving a relationship better than you found it, or leaving a person that you were in the relationship in a better place than when you met them. And I was watching Red Table Talk, and Will Smith, first wife, was talking about this topic, and I thought it was very interesting because it was something that I used to feel that I would be in a relationship with someone, and next thing I know, we're not together, and they were in a better place, and someone after me was going to reap all the benefit, and that was upsetting to me. And have you ever had that experience, Dr. Lamar?
Okay, so I'm really not even trying to be funny. First of all, let me explain. I am a therapist, but I'm not your therapist, and this is not therapy. You know, I want to say this, but then if somebody who I used to date watch this and be like, "You messed me up," then email me. But you know what I think? I think everybody that I've dated, and I mean been in a long-term relationship with, and the truth be told, it's only been two other people other than my husband. Um, I do. I think I left them better. I think when they left the relationship, they understood a lot more about themselves even before I even got into the field of therapy. And guess what? I was even a better person after them. Each relationship created a knowing in me to help me to identify what it was that I absolutely wanted and what I did not want in my marriage. So I think so, both ways. I think they made me better and I also made them better.
And that's what's important for people to recognize is that relationships is about bettering both people. But at the time, I didn't see it that way. I just felt that I was losing, that I had lost out, that I had poured so much into this person, and now someone else was going to benefit from what I had given, versus recognizing that eventually I was expanding and understanding who I needed to be my best self. Now I didn't know that then, and there was no one around me telling me, "Okay, don't worry about that. You're gonna get yours." This person has horned you or fine tuned you to be a better partner, versus me looking at it as I've lost. What do you think about that?
Listen, this topic is so good. I think we need to redo this one because I could talk about this one all day. And I'm going to talk personally about myself, right? Not necessarily about what I understand in relationship, because I do consider myself to be a relationship therapist. This is the thing. In relationships, if you're giving your all, because one thing that I realized long time ago, there's no 50-50. If you give 100, then they should give 100. If you give 50, they give 50. You still got another 50% out there. And the way that I see it, once we've broken up, I've exhausted the relationship. Like, whatever you have, it wasn't enough for me. So if you give what you have to somebody else, hopefully it was enough for her. But if we decide that, you know what, this isn't really working, you're not providing me the things that I need, good luck to you. I hope you find someone who loves what it is that you have, because I'm always seeking to make sure that I'm being fulfilled and also that I'm able to fulfill. And the interesting thing about it is, if someone comes to me and say, what you have is not what I need, thank you, like, release me and let me find somebody that can embrace and enjoy what it is that I have to offer, because I have a lot to offer. And I want to say this, it isn't a bad thing. If I'm giving oranges and somebody wants apples, that's okay. Let me find a person who loves oranges so they can really bask in all of my greatness instead of eating my oranges and really wanting the apple. So I'm okay with when I'm done, I'm done. There's no repeats for me.
And that's how I felt as well. In that before I left any relationship that I was in, I gave it all that I had to give. And that when it was done, it was done. For me, there was no going back. Now, I recognize that at some level, this person was a good person. And so I maintained a friendship with this person, but I wasn't interested in engaging with them. And that's going to be another topic in men and women, but we're not going to get into it today.
Wait a minute. I love it because you said Now listen, you said that you maintain friendships. I don't have anything negative to say about anybody that I've ever dated. That was in a serious relationship. We're all phenomenal people, right? But I don't feel a need to be friends with my ex. I don't. There is nothing we need to talk about. There's nothing they need to tell me.
As I said, we will talk about that in another conversation, because today we're still working on leaving your relationships better than you left them. I want to pivot a little bit because I know I cut you off. But
yes, we did. But it's okay. Yes.
I also see this a lot with, and I don't know if I see it with men as much as I see it with women, where they go, how could he leave me for her? Or that's what he left me for, versus really getting in this place of, which is something you said earlier, maybe you were giving him oranges and he wanted apples.
Right.
But it's always like, it's from I'm better than, and this person is less than that he left me for, versus what if what he needed you were unaware of, or he didn't communicate, whatever it is, but it isn't that he left you for someone less than you, like he went down.
Right.
It's about this person needed something that you were just unable to give them. What are your thoughts about that?
Listen, you're not, first of all, let me say this. You're not going to get me in trouble, right? Because my mind was like, boom. Because the first thing I thought about was, I am an upgrade, right? But it doesn't mean that someone that a relationship was ended, that they didn't upgrade. I'm sure that they did, but I think it goes back to what it is that a person needs. And I think I'm okay with it. I know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, that I'm a good person with a good heart, and that I provide and bring a lot to a relationship, right? But this is the thing about it. And I'm going to go back to the apple and orange analogy. If someone loves apples, it's not that oranges aren't good. It's just not what they love. And I don't want to, I want to be desired. I want my partner to think of me like, and if I'm with someone who loves apples, I am A-okay with it. I am, if this isn't really working, I don't really, okay, I get it. Doesn't mean that it won't hurt, but I would rather find someone who honors what I have to give instead of settling for me. I never want to settle, and I never want anybody to settle on me, right? I want to be the chosen prize, or the chosen fruit, or the chosen person.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that when I hear individuals do that, I'm wondering if they're speaking from their pain, or if this is how they're able to process and move beyond being left. Because you're right, it hurts when someone leaves you and you're trying to figure it out. And there's this comparison that shows up when we're comparing ourselves to the other person.
Right.
The thing that I hear now, that's what I hear women say, like, he left me for her, he downgraded. What I hear men say is, I gave her everything and she left me. And it often makes me wonder, are you sure you gave her everything? Because if you were giving her everything, did you stop to check to see if what you were giving her was what she needed? Were you listening to what she was saying? Because a lot of times women are saying, well, I don't know about a lot of times, but I do know women do say, you're not spending enough time with me, or it'll be, you work all the time. So if someone is saying you're always working, the behind or what's underneath that statement is, I'm feeling neglected. I'm feeling abandoned. I don't get enough of your time. And so sometimes I think men think it's the financial piece. I've given her. So when I hear that, I gave her everything. And then when I begin to check in with them, like, what were the things that you gave her? It's usually, I gave her the big house, and I gave her the nice car, and we took vacations, and all of that ties into the material stuff. But there are other attributes of a relationship that's as important as that financial piece. What are your thoughts?
Oh my gosh. So it goes back to the apple and orange. When a person says, I gave them all that I had, you may have given them all of your apples, right? But it still did not quench the thirst that the person had, because maybe they wanted grapes, or maybe they wanted oranges. And again, I'm speaking from a personal perspective, right? If you are not aware of what it is that you need in a relationship, you will always be seeking something, or something that you saw on social media, or something that you saw on television, or something that your mama said, or something that your mother did not get that you made a vow that you would. But it's really about understanding who you are and knowing what it is that you need, so that when you get into, and you know what? I just thought about this is in a relationship, whether it's your friend or whether it's intimate partner. If you are in a relationship with someone, if they cannot provide you what it is that you need, then it's almost like, you know what? I thank you and I appreciate you, to the next, relationship. And so when I hear you say giving somebody what they need, what is it that you need and what is it that you have to offer? And I'm gonna say this, and I'm back on quiet. Know what it is that you need. And I'll give an example. My need in friendships or relationships, in any relationship, is safety, right? I need to be in relationship or in community with someone that I trust. If I don't trust you, then I don't care what you're giving or what you offering or what you have. I don't want it, right? So just being aware of those various things, I think, is very important in any relationship, whether it's intimate partner or whether it's a friend, a friendship, or a family member.
Well, I think that's very interesting that you say that, like, be aware of what it is that you need. And I began to wonder, how do people determine what they need? And because I work with women to help them figure out, and it's almost as if when I say, well, what are you looking for in a man? And it's this generalized 6 feet, nice dresser, smell good. But these are all external things. The other thing that when I'm working with men
Right.
and they say, well, I gave her everything, I'm like, where did you get this concept of this is what a woman needs?
Right.
And I like what you said. Sometimes they're making it up because there was a lack that went on within their household. And so they was like, well, if, or maybe their mother said, when you get in a marriage, if you get you a woman or wife, then you make sure you provide her X, Y, Z, and not realizing that's what his mother wanted or needed,
Mhm.
versus the woman that you will get might need or want something different. And so it's identifying what those needs are. So how do you help people um, figure out, like, what my needs are, what their needs are, man or woman, within a relationship outside? Because I heard you say safety is important to you.
Mhm.
So how did you even get to the conclusion that, you know what, at the end of the day, I need to feel safe with the man that I'm going to marry or that I'm with?
Oh my gosh, that's so good. And again, another podcast. I think my safety was established first with my mama and my daddy. And I think about, because when I think about who my husband is a lot like my daddy. He's a lot different from my daddy. I won't talk about that today, but he's very similar to my daddy, right? And when I just looked at how my dad provided so much protection for the family, and I'm talking about financial, I want to say physical. I I'm gonna say emotional, because it's interesting when I think back when I'm talking to my friends or when I'm working through things in my own marriage, and I'm saying, "Wow, my daddy taught me that." Oh my gosh, my daddy taught me that. And so there are a lot of things that I didn't even give my daddy credit for. So the first thing I would say is from my mom and my dad. The second thing that I would say, which is probably neck and neck with that first one, is understanding your unresolved childhood trauma. When you don't understand your trauma, you will draw to you experiences that you had from your childhood, even though they were not good. But because our body keeps the score, our body naturally gravitates to things that are familiar to us. So sometimes we will draw to us toxicity, like fussing or fighting or cursing or yelling or disrespect or infidelity, because that's what you saw. Even though you made a vow to yourself, like, oh, I would never date a man that cheated on me, or I would never date a man that cursed me, or I would never. But because you knew that devil, when it happened, it was like, well, look, he paying bills, he doing this, he doing. I mean, he cursed me out and he cheated every now and then. And so when you think about it in that perspective, then you're actually dating or creating a need out of trauma and not your truth. And last but not least, this is my thing. The way that you understand your need, and I get excited when I talk about this, is What brings you joy? Like what genuinely makes you happy in your spirit, like in your heart of heart? What excites you? Like and that's where I think your needs come from. And that's how I ended up coming up with safety for me. And people who like to have fun. Another thing, be it my friends or my partner. Another thing, I like people who are generous. And I got that word from you. I remember when I first met you and you talking about this generosity thing. And I'm gonna be honest right here. I'm gonna disclose. I'm petty. I am petty. And I don't know if you ever saw that Red Table Talk when what her name is, what's his wife, Will Smith's wife said, she said, I'm not a mean girl, but I'm a petty, that she said the B word. I'm petty. And so one of the things that I've worked through is try not to be petty. And this is the thing. If I'm with you and I got to keep scoring, the petty is coming up. And so that's the thing that I realized about me as related to a need. So if I'm with you, because I'm a very generous person, like I'm caring, I'm kind. And like Tupac said, I ain't no killer, but don't push me. I'm just saying. But I'm a very generous person. And I don't want to be in relationship with people, you know what, in my close circle. So let me say that in my close circle, I don't want my close circle to be petty betties or petty crockers. I need for them to be generous, kind, caring, compassionate people. Again, that goes back to a need. When I don't get those things, guess what? Bye bye. Like in sync. Bye 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 bye. Anyway, but so that's just those are my thoughts on needs. And I know I took a long time on that. Yes.
Well, that was very good. And you're right. I think we may need to do just a segment on needs. We are at the time, people. This has been an awesome conversation with Dr. LaMarr. If you're interested in reaching her, let people know how they can reach you, Dr. LaMarr.
Oh, the Wise Inc. at yahoo.com or at Gmail. I'm on Psychology Today. Just put in the Wives Inc. I'm on Instagram. I'm on social media. Look at social media. I'm on Instagram. I am on Facebook, fake book, I like to call it. And I'm on TikTok.
All right. Awesome. Well, we will continue this on a weekly basis. And once again, knowing and growing with JaiDei. Thank you so much, Dr.